Welcome to Grit, the Real Estate Growth Mindset podcast, hosted by Brian Charlesworth, founder of Sisu. Sisu provides growth automation software for real estate. You'll hear stories from real estate thought and technology leaders, team owners, and brokers on how they grew their business in a rapidly changing industry. You'll learn how to transform your brokerage and teams into a high-performing and analytics-driven business so you have a new, durable, competitive advantage against disruption in your market. So let's get right into it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Grit Podcast. I'm Brian Charlesworth, the founder of Sisu and your host of the show. And today I have Jace Gillies with me, and Jace happens to be the team leader at Utah Life now. So you guys are probably familiar with Spring by this point if you're a listener on this show. Probably familiar with Justin as well, who was the team leader for a while. And Jace has now taken over sales for this team. And I'm excited for this because Jace is only 5 years into this industry and has really leveraged Sisu. And so today is going to be an episode where we actually do talk about Sisu because Jace knows nothing different. He's been leveraging Sisu to grow his own personal business. He's been leveraging Sisu to grow the production of his team and his agents on his team. He's been leveraging Sisu to recruit more agents. How many agents do you have now, Jace?
We'll be at 96 by the end of next week.
Okay, so approaching 100 now.
Yep.
And congratulations on that, Jace.
Thank you.
And he's also leveraging Sisu not only to recruit more agents, but also to onboard new agents. So on that note, Jace, let's jump in. When you met Spring about 5 years ago now, is that right?
Well, it's been a little over 6, actually.
6 years ago. Okay. So when you met Spring, she was actually at KW, right?
Yep.
And she was filling in as a temporary team leader, or I think that's what they called it.
Yep.
Well, she was a team leader because she had her own team, but she was managing the office at the time. So you came to her, you had $11 in your bank account, and you came to her and you said, "Hey, can you help me with these documents?" I guess you were going to make an offer. Is that right?
Yeah, I had a referral a few days into my business, actually from my wife. And yeah, they knew the house they wanted. They wanted to wrap an offer, and I had no idea how to even do that.
Okay, cool. So what happened when you went to Spring?
Yeah, so I walked into Kev Williams, and no one else was there except Spring. I didn't even really know Spring or knew who she was. I just knew she was running kind of that office. And I came up to her with my computer, and I said, "Hey, I have a client that wants to write up an offer. Can you help me?" And she was kind enough to help me, even though she was so busy. And as she was helping me, she asked me, she said, "Jace, why are you not on a team?" And I said, "Well, teams have splits, and I want to make 100 grand. And I don't think I do that on a team." And this was coming from me only making 18 grand a year. So now that I look back at that, I don't know why I was so cocky about like, "Oh, I'm making 100 grand. I can't do that with you." Anyway, she told me one thing that actually changed my life. She said, what if I showed you how to do that in a leveraged way and make more than 100K? And Utah Life at the time was only about 6 agents. And I was like, you know what? I'm only about 5 days in. Why not? And I talked to my wife and she said, do it. And I ended up joining. And that first year in real estate, I did 29 deals my first 12 months.
Okay. How much did you make?
I made about 170 grand. So I went from 18 grand to about 170.
Okay, great. So you talk about this. You wanted to make 100 grand. I think we all know every new agent, that's the way they think. I want to make 100 grand. And when I say new agent, I think that's people who are coming from other industries into the business. People like you that were used to making 17 grand. Because there are some people who get into real estate, they've been professionals forever and they get into, let's just say they get into their 50s. They got laid off or whatever the case is. They're used to making 300 grand a year. I've seen many of them come in and make 300 grand a year because they have a higher thermostat. But let's take that agent like you were. Why is it that they all think about splits? And they don't all, but many of them do, instead of just how much money they can make. You happened to be open to seeing that you could make more money being on a team, no matter what the split was, right? How did that happen? Share more about that.
Yeah, I just didn't understand. I was so new, and I didn't even know, to be honest, there was really teams. I've heard about them. Everyone told me not to do a team that I talked to, but I think it was just their understanding. Like they don't understand the value of teams. I didn't understand the value of a team. I didn't know what I would get for it. All I was told was they take half your commission, but all it took was Spring just telling me, you know what, like yes, this is the split, but here's everything you're going to get. You're going to get coaching, support, leads, office work out of collaboration, transaction coordination, all this stuff. And she just showed me the path on how she kind of reverse engineered how I could just go make 100K. And then when she broke it down, I was like, okay, my only job on a team, you take away all the tedious work that I really don't want to do. And all I got to do is be in 100 conversations a week and go meet people and sign them. That's all I got to do. And the team does everything else. I was like, yeah, I'll do that because I'd rather do that than boxing stuff at a warehouse that I was at before. So when she told me that, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. I love it. So tell us a little bit more about your journey. That's how you got into the industry. You're now head of sales or whatever you want to call it, team leader, or whatever, at
Yeah.
Utah Life Real Estate. Let's talk a little bit more about the journey. Like, how did you get from where you were into this current role that you're in today?
Yeah. So after that, even when I started, honestly, I was just trying it out. I had some friendly friends that said I'd be good at real estate because I didn't know what I wanted to be. And I was about a year into my marriage and, we had our first baby on the way. So I actually was just trying it that first year. Didn't think I was going to sell 29 houses. And then after that, that's a few months in is when Sisu was coming around as well. So after that first year, we're getting integrated into Sisu and our team grew a little bit more. So we went from like 6 agents to 18 that second year or whatever. And Sisu came into play. And like I've done from the beginning, I've always been in leadership. Everything I do, I've strived to be a leader. But I'm a huge believer that if you want to be a good leader, you got to be a really good follower. So I just did everything Spring said that first year. And then you came in and Sisu came in and you guys told me to use it. So I just did. And that was really the biggest game changer. That second year, I didn't sell like a crazy amount more, but that second year is when I did about 34 deals. My second year into real estate and kept going, right? And that third year, using Sisu and the team every single day, like as we grew to the team, more resources were coming in. Sisu kept getting better as well. And then I was doing 40 deals and I did 45 and then was doing just under 50 deals a year. And that's when I approached Spring and I wanted a little bit more and said, hey, I want to be a mentor on this team. And I started mentoring 15 agents at a time, how to get in production, utilize Sisu, utilize our systems, make money on this team. And then I came to Spring again after that and said, hey, can I be the director of sales? And she made me that. And then we were all this was actually because of you. We were all at President's Club for the team. And Spring was talking about an expansion partner. And I don't know if you remember, but you told me, you kind of pulled me inside and said, you need to tell her that it's you, not she doesn't need to go look for someone else. You tell her that it's you. And so at Mexico, I said, you don't need to look for anyone else. It's me. And this was, I don't know, 20 months ago. So almost 2 years ago. I told Spring, I'm like, hey, I've been doing the production. I've been your top producer. I'm probably the most plugged into this team as far as systems and everything that every tool this team has. I want to be your expansion partner. And so we opened up the Draper office and she let me bring one agent, which wasn't going to do, but I brought one of my mentees that actually became a top producer on the team, brought him with me, and we were only in Draper for about 10 days. And then we had a few things change in our Salt Lake office, and she came to me 10 days later and said, hey, we want you to run Salt Lake City. There's already 30 agents there, which was, I mean, the amount of resistance I felt there was crazy. But I'm like, just like Spring's, I've always been with Spring. I just say yes, and it always works out. And ended up taking over Salt Lake, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done, especially being a new team owner, having the identity of being a top producer and a team owner and team owner now, and not being able to balance it.
So, Jace, I want to talk about that for a minute, and then we'll continue on from there. But when you 10 days into opening a new office in Draper, which most of you don't know what that is, but it's about 30 miles south, Spring's team leader in Salt Lake decided he was done. And I think she knew he was going to be done. He wasn't holding anybody accountable. He wasn't using the systems that Spring uses to run her business. So there was a culture breakdown. There wasn't a
Yeah,
culture fit, right?
yeah.
So let's talk about what happened when all of a sudden how old are you now?
I'm 29.
So you were 27 at the time.
Yep.
So your 27-year-old comes in, takes over the team, and I know you had a lot of pushback. Let's talk about it. What was going on there in Salt Lake there was about 30 agents there at the time. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah. So the moment I came in, number one is it basically wasn't Utah Life because they weren't using Sisu, they weren't using our tools, they didn't have really our culture. And so I had to turn a pretty big ship around, which I knew wasn't going to be like an instant thing. But right when I joined, I lost about 12 agents because they didn't know who I was. And then some did and were like, oh, I don't want to be under Jace, right? Because whatever.
Or they didn't want to work,
They
right?
didn't want to work. They don't want to be held accountable because they knew I did that, right? And
Yeah.
so I came in and we instantly went down to about 17 agents. And then it took a while. Immediately overnight, I had to go crazy at recruiting, which I wasn't even the best at starting out. I had to maintain production because no one else was producing. I had to really re-enroll the 17 remaining to Utah to be exposed to Utah life really for the first time, and to Sisu and accountability and all this stuff. But that first year, it wasn't necessarily the best year, but we still did a 113 million in volume in that office, which was like my first 12 months of being a team owner. And it's absolutely because of accountability. And I'm going to say it a lot on this podcast, but Sisu, like if you're not using Sisu, you're doing the whole game wrong. And that's
So
the only right there.
just so you guys know, like Jace doesn't know anything different.
Yep.
Jace actually has a thing he's been doing in the Utah Life team meetings for the last couple of years called
Jace's Orange Minute.
the Orange Minute,
Yep.
which means what? What is the Orange Minute?
How to utilize Sisu and how to go orange, which means goal achieved. How to actually hit your goals.
How to hit
Leveraging
your goals in Sisu. So the orange circle. So Jace, so you were able to do it. Congratulations, by the way. Many people listening to this have been team leaders for a decade and still have not hit 100 million. So
Yep.
you were able to do that your first year by following systems, which
Yep.
I love,
Yes.
because it's really not that hard, right? I'm actually writing a book right now, just so you all know. I'm writing a book right now to teach everyone how to do exactly what you've done here, because it's really not that hard. You just have to follow the systems.
Totally. I agree.
So now you've got it to there to the 100 million. You start building Salt Lake, and all of a sudden, Spring and Justin's coaching business gets large enough and takes off to where Justin steps out of running the Davis County office.
Yep.
He's now full time in coaching and in the Spring Bee coaching world. And so you are now over recruiting. And I think when you stepped into that, which was what, like 6 months ago? Or you're over the entire office.
Yeah, that
When
was
did
about
this
like
all
4 months
happen?
ago. Like 4 months
4 months?
ago.
4 months ago. And how many agents did you have at the time?
It was kind of a rough patch as well there, and we went down to like 68 agents.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I know the team as both Salt Lake and Davis County were up to about 80 agents, 85, what dropped down to 60. And where are you today?
Like I said, we got 96 by the next week. I recruited 31 in quarter 1 of this year.
Okay. So did you all hear that? Jace, can you repeat that? How many agents did you recruit in Q1?
Yeah, I've recruited 31 in quarter 1.
Okay.
Most of which experienced as well.
Most of those are experienced agents. I want you to walk us through the playbook of how
Yeah.
you're doing this. And then we're going to stagger this, okay? I was going to go into agent productivity, but let's go into recruiting first.
Okay.
And then we'll bounce back into agent productivity.
Totally.
So let's talk about this on recruiting. How is it you've gone from 60 to 91 and recruited 30 plus agents in 1 quarter? And you don't have, and I just want to point out, you don't have a recruiter, right? You're doing the recruiting and you're
Yep.
doing the sales leadership.
Yeah. So before you even get to that, my role right now is literally, leading 96 agents, having one-on-ones with them. I'm still in a certain level of production, recruiting, training, coaching. Like it's a lot, right? As far as recruiting, the biggest thing that kind of shifted was at first my mindset was I just really needed to win. I had a limited belief. I knew Utah life as far as Utah goes, maybe even the country, to be honest, is absolutely the best vehicle to, yes, start your career, but also to have a career, right? I knew why they should come, but I had this mental block stopping me, and I really needed to win. But one day just kind of shifted, just talking, coaching with you, coaching with Spring, like stop being like, be unapologetic, and like it's monopoly free, like go hard and just go. And it finally, I don't know what, necessarily event it was, but it just finally clicked. And what I did was I went to our team's VAs and I pulled a list of anyone that did about 5 to 15 deals last year, which ended up being 1,600 agents. And I gave them access to all my social medias. And then I said, send this script, and then any response, I'll take over. And this is a script I told him to say, which I have it right here. So if Brian was the agent, I would DM Brian and I'd say, hey, Brian, I've been loving what you're doing in real estate. We should catch up and see if there's a way to work together. I'm not even sure what that would look like, but it would be great to at least connect. What time this week works for you? So 1,600 people got that. It actually made a lot of other teams really threatened and really angry, which then again started like mind effing me a little bit. But then I'm like, you know what? No, like we're the best and everyone should come here. And anyways, I was doing that, and then I was picking up the phone and calling people that I know are killers in the industry and just not being scared of it. So I have a guy here that was the managing broker of Century 21 Everest here in Utah, which used to be like one of the biggest Century 21 offices. Like they crush it.
Yeah, they had over 350 agents at one point.
Yeah, and I have an agent on my team who's actually one of his best friends, and basically said, "Don't even try. There's no way he's ever going to come over. He's got a really good gig there and all that." And I'm like, "No." So I personally sent him this DM, and he said, "Yeah, I'd actually love to meet." And I ended up meeting with him, and I found out that he's just not happy. He's not happy. He was on a six-figure salary and was getting profit share and was a team leader and a broker. He's making good money. He's like, all I want to do is sell. And I'm like, cool. What we can do for you is help you sell 60 homes, because that's kind of his production. I can help you do 60 homes in a very leveraged, predictable way. And within 2 meetings, he joined our team. And then all of a sudden, all these people that are seeing him come over, our first weekend, he had 16 people from that brokerage say, hey, where are you going? And I've already met with 5 of them so far, and all 5 are coming to the team. And so I'm using these experienced agents, not using them, but I'm showcasing them like, look, these guys are already killers, but they're coming to Utah Life. Like, do you want to know why? And so I'm constantly, every Wednesday, I do an agent shout out on my Instagram, highlighting these agents, what they're doing here. So I do that every single week. I will DM every single person that's liking it or commenting it and say, hey, I would actually love to have you on the team as well. I'd love to talk to you on what that looks like. So I'm just being really, really aggressive, because 71% of agents did not sell a house last year. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, I don't care who you are. Like, just because you killed it last year doesn't mean you're doing it this year. Everyone needs Utah Life, and that's now my mindset.
Yeah. So I've been talking to you and coaching you for years, Jace, and my message has always been, look, there's no place else in the country that somebody can go and be able to build a more predictable income than with you, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Do you believe that now?
If you've been enjoying Grit, please help us continue to grow the channel by leaving a 5-star review and sharing it with a friend. Now back to Grit.
100%. Yes.
Okay. And so now that you believe it, your agents believe it.
Yep.
But how is it you can do that?
How is it that I can believe in it like that?
No, how is it that you can guarantee these guys a predictable income? Because
Yeah,
most people in the industry cannot do that.
totally. I think the way we can is because we have a track record of doing it. I've done it myself as well in a predictable way. We have proof of it, but we have the systems. Like Sisu, again, that's your predictability. That's your accountability. I always tell my agents that Sisu is eyes on your business, and then your CRM is your business, right? Like and both of them, you can't have a CRM and Sisu, or just Sisu and CRM. You need them both. And if you just focus on that team, we can reverse engineer and be like, Brian, if you, we track everything. Sisu tracks all conversions with, conversations, buyer seller appointments set, met, signed under contract, and closed. I know, for me at least, like if I sit down with 3 people, I'm going to get a closing. That's skipping under contract or signed under contract. I will close someone if I meet with 3 people. So as I get my agents using this, and new experienced agents that don't ever track combos or appointments set and never have, I have a guy here that's now doing it 2 months, and we're finding out really quickly, like, dude, you only have to have like 30 combos to get an appointment, and you only got to sit down with 4 people to get a closing. So now the predictability comes in where it's like, yes, get the combos, yes, do this. But if you want predictability and you want leverage, you want to take that vacation, your family, and you know it's the end of this month, and you want to do 4, 4 under contracts, you just got to go meet 16 people or whatever the number is. They know now, like, wow, it's just a game now. It's just a game. And that's what real estate became for me too, is like, I noticed everyone was not tracking anything. And yes, I was basically born in the industry with Sisu, right? But I noticed everyone that doesn't have it, or systems or CRM, they're just out there surviving, even experienced agents. And
Mhm.
I'm over here and a lot of our agents over here just playing a game where it's like, all I got to do this week is meet two people and I'm going to get another contract. I
Yeah.
don't need to wonder where my money is. It's just, it becomes way fun when you
Yeah.
have that predictability.
So not only are you using the recruiting side of Sisu and the onboarding side of Sisu, you're really leveraging the agent productivity side to say, look, I can guarantee you a predictable income. You tell me how much you want to make, I'll show you how to get there. Is that essentially what your conversations are?
Yep, all day. Even with these experienced agents, I ask them like, this meeting's about you. What would excite you this year? If you were to make X amount of money and be able to take the trips you want and build wealth, all this stuff, what would excite you? They tell me, I want to do 300K. Cool. And I show them, I pull up Sisu. If you were to do this, go on the goal calculator, boom, boom, boom. It spits out what they need to do to the day. Cool, man. All you got to do is talk to 12 people a day here every single day, or 20 people a day, Monday through Friday, 100 people a week, whatever. Meet this amount, sign this amount, and you'll get that. And this equals 300K. Does that seem doable to you? And when they see it as like a week thing and a day thing, it's like, oh, yeah, that's actually way simple. The pathway is way simple.
Yeah, very cool. You just talked about building wealth. I know you started investing in the S&P 500 recently, and I know as of yesterday and today, two of the biggest drops in a long time. So here's my advice to you, Jace. Put more money in right now,
Yep. It's a
right?
plan.
Because it's
Yep.
coming back. So,
Yep.
all right, great. I'm sure a lot of people have questions for you around that. We've kind of hit on recruiting and agent accountability or agent productivity. I want to ask you a few just other questions around productivity. I mean, something you just said is if I meet with three people, I'm going to close one.
Yep.
So, what's the most important KPI that you track? In your opinion, what is the single most important KPI that you need to know?
Appointments met.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you know your appointment's met, that means not only do you know it, but you can then build a predictable income based on going on those three appointments. How much more motivated are you to go on three appointments? And now I know you're really focused on leading a team more so than your own production, although you are still doing some production. But how much more are you committed and how much more are your agents committed if they know I have to go on for every three appointments or every four appointments I go on, I actually put somebody under contract and get it closed?
Oh yeah. It's just a whole other mindset and level of this game that people don't even realize. Like it's so doable. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easy. Like really, it's like the blueprint simple. Yeah, you're way motivated. All I got to do this week is go meet three people, and I know I'll get a closing. And however many combos it takes, I'll go get that, whatever it is. But like, yeah, if I say I want to close, for example, four. Let's say my goal is four right now. All I got to focus on for 30 days is meet 12 people.
Yeah. So you
That's
say
all I got
it's
to do.
easy for some people. That's hard because they get in their head instead of being in their heart, right?
Yep.
Fear is living in your head. And if they're living up here, they're not going to go on 12 appointments. So
No.
it is very simple because you have the blueprint. How do you get them to see that so that they can get out of their head, be in their heart, and treat it like a game? You've called it a game several times over the last few minutes.
Yep.
Tell me about that. How is this more fun if you treat it like a game?
One, I love games like my whole life, sports, gaming, all that stuff. Honestly, like I just try to look at it like that. Like the more people I talk to and meet, the more money I'll make, and then it's just a game. It's just fun. I love getting rejected. I love when I get told a no because I know it's just one no closer to a yes, and all I got to do is meet someone. So what I'm telling my team is I am putting them to work as far as like, hey, before we know this, you do need to be in the combos. You do need to like track, and you got to talk to enough people. But it usually is right when they start seeing that win, it like a light goes off, like, oh, this is actually, man, if I just sit down with someone eventually they're going to sign. I'm going to close a deal. So now they're focusing on that. You know what I mean? And now it becomes, we talk about it on the team a lot. Like, what if real estate was fun and easy? What would that look like? So that's my messaging like all the time right now. Like, what if real estate was fun and easy? What would that look like? And everyone's like, I'd be excited to come in the office. I would meet someone every day. I would have good energy. I would work out in the morning. I would hit my Sisu goals, which means you're hitting your money. I'm like, cool. Then let's just go do that. So it can be fun and easy. You know what I mean?
Well, we've been programmed as human beings to think things need to be hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard things like this since high school athletics, which were no pain, no gain,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And it's how much pain can you endure? I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
But if you can shift that mindset and again, get out of your head and get in your heart, that fear turns into fun. And now it's the different question. Instead of how much pain can you endure, it's how much pleasure can you endure.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it fun to make a
Yeah.
lot of money? Like,
It's way fun.
so why do we call that painful? It doesn't have to be pain, right? So
Yeah.
how much pleasure can we endure? So in the game, let's talk about the game. You guys have run a lot of sales contests at Utah Live.
Yep.
That's true game, right? Gamification. So
Yep.
talk to me about what works, what some of those most successful sales contests have been, because I think that's something, and again, if you guys have Sisu, you can leverage and you can set up, get so many points for this, you get so many points for that, and you can balance it out between, I know you guys do a lot of men and women, but Jace, talk about like what, maybe just choose a sales contest that really just crushed it for you guys. I remember one month you sold like 97 homes, which I
Yeah.
think was your biggest month at that time, probably still your biggest month.
So there's, yep.
Yeah, so maybe tell us about the sales contest you guys ran that month.
Yeah, I'll tell you too, because our last month was really good too. But yeah, that one was actually men versus women, and there was a lot of competitive men and competitive women, and it was friendly competition. But yeah, we launched it and we do it on the metrics that we need to be tracking. So we usually do appointments met, signed, and under contract, which would be a point system, and then we tell them what the prize we get, whether it's a team or the overall, woman that got the most points, which means she got the most UCs and signed and all that, so they know what the prize is, and then we put them all in Slack channels so that they're communicating, and then we have it up on Sisu on our. We got 4 big TVs on both sales floors now that are constantly replaying the competitions and where everyone's at, and we are constantly talking about it. The one we did last month, it was March Madness, with March Madness. So we did a March Madness on Utah Life. We had 16 or what is it, 32 teams or whatever of whatever. So it matched it, and it was all the actual schools that was in the actual March Madness. So, and it was teams of 5, like a real basketball
So
team.
you guys actually had a bracket going in the
Yeah,
office for
we had a
yourselves.
big bracket on
I
the.
didn't know this. How did I
Yeah,
not know this?
I don't know. But we had a big bracket, and each week would be like, the schools playing each other, and it was Met and UCs just this time. And there'd be a point system. Whoever won, that team that lost would lose. They could still be the overall team scorer winner because there's 2 winners, but they're out. And then at the end, it was the champion that won the whole bracket, and then the all-time scorer. So we had it up. I made it fun. I brought in a basketball hoop, bought a basketball hoop here, a little one, and whoever signed someone that week got 2 free throws, which I would hand out cash or a gift card, and they would get an additional 50 points for that last week win, where they actually could have ended up winning the other team. But anyways, the overall team, we're taking them all and them and their spouses to a night at Top Golf and dinner, and then the overall winner, and we're buying him some really nice Jordans, is what he wanted. So yeah, so now he's getting Jordans. But that, by the way, that guy that this is a point I want to bring up too. The guy that won the competition is one of our experienced agents we recruited. His name's Lincoln. He's crushed it. The dude has one of the biggest houses I've seen in West Bountiful. Very successful as a solo agent. He came to our team, I don't know, just before the beginning of the year. He's our current top producer on the whole team for the year. He's at about 15 deals for the whole year already. And he was so bought into this competition because he's used to working from his home office alone, and he was in here all the time. He was slinging deals. I think in that competition, I think he put like 4 million under contract. Like, he was pumped up about
In
it.
30 days, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
competitions always run 30 days. I just want to make sure you guys know, don't ever run a competition longer than 30 days because you won't be able to keep the attention of people.
yep. And this month we're doing the Masters, so
Okay.
it's gonna be fun.
So we're going to Augusta.
Yep.
Okay. I love it.
Right.
All right, Jace, a couple more minutes here. What advice would you give a team leader who's just starting out with Sisu and they want to build a performance-driven culture like what you have?
Yeah. It would be to utilize Sisu for everything that it is. It's not just accountability. It's not just tracking all those metrics. There's quite a large depth to Sisu. So my advice would be learn it, or learn the ins and outs. If you need to jump on one of like the Sisu representatives and just learn it, do it. Or you can call me. You cannot run a successful team without it. I think it's impossible. There's no way. I can't even think of any other way to do it. I would say the team owner too is you have to lead by example too. So what I do is I lead it by example by utilizing Sisu, but I'm actually recruiting on the sales floor in front of my agents, showing them, and this is from John Cheplack, showing them who I'm going to replace them with, not in a bad way, but just show them like, you got to like step up, let's do it. But two, showing that I'm not just telling them what to do, I'm actually showing, because I go right from recruiting right on to calling our team's database in front of them. Now, my goal is not to go sell 48, 50 homes anymore, but I can do with Sisu and the team, I can do 12 to 24 in my sleep here all day. But I'm showing them like too many team owners, and I'm not that far into being a team owner either, but it's very clear that team owners, and I was kind of that at first, I would ask you all the time, they just immediately on a team and get out of production. They just are in their back office and they don't recruit and they don't produce and they don't utilize systems, and they're wondering why they're not getting anyone on their team. They're wondering why they're not profitable, right? They're wondering why their team's not selling homes. If there's something I've learned, advice I would give is like, and you told me this, until you have 50 plus agents, you got to be in full production. And then it is the team owner's sole responsibility more than anyone else, even if you have a recruiter, to recruit to the team.
Yeah.
You got to be going crazy in recruiting. So I recruit for an hour and a half every morning, and then I produce for an hour and a half every morning, and then I'm meeting my agents constantly. We're utilizing Sisu. I'm diving into Sisu, looking at my numbers. Who do I need to call? Like, hey, you met someone. Why don't you sign them? That's how I coach my agents too. I don't know how you coach agents if they don't have metrics they're recording in a dashboard to go and do. It's kind of like when we coached. If I came to you and I didn't have anything recorded, you don't know what's going on in my business, and there's nothing to talk about. But if I can see my team met 25 people this week and we only signed 10, I can call the 15 people that didn't sign and find out why they did not sign someone. And let's call those people back and let's go sign them and stuff. So biggest advice is lead by example. Don't just tell them what to do. And you have to use Sisu. There's no other way around it.
All right. I want to point out we have a behind the scenes of a real estate machine event May 5th through 7th in Salt Lake City. You get to see behind the scenes of Jace's team, Spring's team, Justin's team. Jace is going to be a part of that now moving forward. It's been Spring and Justin for those of you. It's still Spring and Justin. We're adding some things to it. We're actually adding some things for agents as well. So this used to be something just for team leaders and ops leaders. Now bring your agents as well. And Jace and Justin can help get them in that culture of accountability and that mindset of building a predictable income. So excited about that, Jace. What's the next big goal for you and the team at Utah Life? And I say that, and I don't even need to ask how Sisu is going to be a role in that because I know you run everything through that. But like, I know you guys are in EOS right now. So like, what's your BHAG for Utah Life?
Yeah, our goal this year is 1,000 transactions. Within 3 years, it will be about 2,300. And then within 5 years, 5,000 homes a year.
Okay.
As a team.
So 5 years, you guys want to be doing 5,000 homes a year.
Yep.
Okay. So you guys pay attention to that. 1,000 homes this year, 5,000 homes in 5 years, meaning 5,000 homes that year 5 from now.
Yep.
So that's going to be exciting to watch, Jace, and congratulations. Again, guys, remember, Jace is 29 years old. He's been in the business for 6 years. And Jace, if you had to sum it up in one sentence, what is the impact of Sisu on your business?
I would wrap up every successful thing in my life is because of Sisu. I know that sounds weird, but because real estate's been successful, which is because of Sisu, it's made my family life better. It's grown my wealth. It's grown my net worth. It's grown my happiness. I know it sounds cheesy, but because of Sisu, every aspect of my life has gotten better. And yes, it's this team and it's you guys coaching and all that stuff. But because I've been able to make it a game and track and know how to go make money predictably, it's made everything in my life better.
Okay, cool. That's what it's about, right? That's what I love to see. So, guys, that's a wrap on today's episode of the Grit Podcast. Huge thanks to Jace for joining me today and for his insight, his energy, for giving you the exact blueprint on how to recruit more agents, how to get your agents in higher production. And if you guys are not on Sisu, what are you waiting for? I'm going to say it. Like, what are you waiting for? You're either going to be on it now or you're going to be on it in 3 years. If you get on it now, you can be profitable in this market. And that's what most teams that I'm seeing are challenged with right now is being profitable in this market. So with that, I'm Brian Charlesworth. Thank you all for joining us. Reach out, give us a like if you have not done that. Subscribe, give us a review. That will help us continue to build this community. which is going to have a massive impact on this industry in the coming years. And again, I just announced today, I am writing my first book. It's going to be a fun one. And guys, again, I'm Brian Charlesworth, founder of Sisu, and we'll see you next time on the Grit Podcast.
Thank you for joining us on our podcast. If you have an interest in a free 7-day trial of Sisu, go to sisu.co, sisu.co. Make sure that you use the coupon code GRIT, that's GRIT, to waive all your setup fees and receive a 10% discount on your subscription. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and want to subscribe, search GRIT, the Real Estate Growth Mindset, on iTunes, Spotify, or Podbean. And with that, we'll catch you next time. Take care.